Hello and good afternoon. Today, I'd like to speak to you a little bit about divorce in the Philippines. You see, it turns out that divorce is not legal in the Vatican or the Philippines, but it is everywhere else just about in the world. Now, the Vatican, I understand. There probably isn't much of a demand there for divorce. However, in the Philippines, well, that's a different story. The Philippines have passed many laws in reference to divorce over the last several years, but it turns out that the Catholic Church is so influential in the country that change is slow to come. 80% of Filipinos identify with being Catholic. It is the third most Catholic populated country in the world. So you could say that the church has a lot to do with what happens in the Philippines. And the church is always in favor of a more traditional approach to life. However, I'm impressed, though, with the hypocrisy of Filipino politicians and influencers. I mean, it's very well known that so many of these people have lovers, have their own private lives that they keep hidden. Yet, why do they not have a more progressive or forthcoming approach to divorce? Well, it's pretty simple, actually, because their base is in conservative country. So thousands, if not millions, of Filipino live in the sense of being trapped in a relationship, in a life, or in a situation where they're subjected to domestic violence. There are several avenues that Filipinos can take. However, more often than not, they're kind of not that accessible to everybody. The first one being legal separation. And legal separation is a long and costly process. It's when you divide the assets with your spouse and separate your lives in half. However, you're never divorced, though. You always kind of continue being married. And in some situations, the woman has to continue using the man's last name. Imagine that. The second option that Filipinos have is annulment. Now, annulment is something that you need to prove that one of the two parties has never really been into the relationship from the beginning anyways. It's not an easy thing to do, of course. It's not an inexpensive thing to do. And you also need the approval of a psychiatrist to approve the process. So clearly, this is only an option for the upper classes. A third option that some in the Philippines opt for is a foreign wedding. And a foreign wedding is interesting, specifically in Hong Kong. It's not too far away, and the service is conducted in English. Most Filipinos speak English, if not all. The fourth choice that folks have is maybe the simplest one, which is not to get married at all. And this is what the young are opting for more and more increasingly every day. Turns out that over the last 10 years or so, the rate of marriage has declined by 20%. I have a lot of friends that are Filipino, and they feel trapped, not being able to get divorced and move on with their lives. So I feel for them. I know that they hate the situation. What I hope for is that the Filipino government can find it in their powers and their abilities to rectify the situation and pass a divorce law sometime soon. Thank you very much.